So I just have a couple things to mention about technology in the future and the availability of certain um, job requirements are going to be narrowed further and further than you ever could have thought by artificial intelligence. So we look at engineering, and this is one in particular because someone had made a comment, and I'm not going to call out who it was, and I don't blame him at all for his comment, but he was saying that he's an apprentice right now and he's thinking about getting out of it. Um, I would have a couple words of encouragement. Okay, so when I talk about skills and content being the wealthy people of the future, and who doesn't want to be wealthy, right? Or at least get paid well for what they do and their time investment. Those people are going to have content and services, which if you are a tradesman, you have content, right? You have the ability to teach on something, but you also have a service you can provide. My worry is that in 2008, when the economy collapsed, you know what happened to all the guys who had all the major engineering degrees? If you work in a cubicle and there's 100 of them, then there's probably 25% of them that don't need to be there. And when the times get tight, they will drop you like a bad habit. And I want you to think about in the future, if you can create something that AI can't, which is a skill, then these will be the most highly sought after and valued because, I mean, look at some of the Lex Friedman talks and some of the other lectures that are being given right now on AI. And, Blake Lemoine and what he said about Google and how fast that the AI is learning. Before long, it's going to be doing mass computations or computations exponentially faster than humans ever could have. So that means that you're going to get rid of title companies. You're going to get rid of lawyers by and large. You're going to get rid of a lot of trades are going to be dissolved. Anything that can be learned through a book can be taught to a computer. So if I'm a doctor and I have a symptom, then guess what happens? I have a book that I go to, and it's a diagnostic manual that says, given these symptoms, I have this problem or a possible cause of this problem. That's all mechanics do. So we're being asked to troubleshoot spaceships on wheels, and at some point, the ability to do that is going to really garner you a lot of money, and it's not going to be working for somebody. It's going to be going here to there, going to places that have less skill level. Because think about it, if all the most skilled technicians went into business for themselves, the dealership would lose its capacity to do the service it does. Because that's predicated on us, the guys who have years and 20 years of knowledge and the whole run up to understanding things in its entirety and being the duty experts, right? So what is enticing about doing that? Don't get put off thinking that you're not valued, but in truth, you're only valued on your knowledge, right? So the faster you get the knowledge and the faster you can show that skill level and to be able to use the knowledge and your body and be able to produce a product, provide a service, that is your value. So don't think that in the future, see, I believe that in the future shops will go away the way they are today because the technology is going to advance so much that you're not dealing with people who don't have the ability to add two and two and tell you, I am way too intelligent to be doing this job for this pay. I don't actually mind doing the job, but I'm not doing it for beans. I'm not going to work for nothing, and you're going to give me a fair shake because I'm holding this building up. Remember this as a mechanic. Everyone else in that building cost the company money. You're the only one helping it to make money. Now, like billable hour, you are the earner in the building. It's just like being in the military. You have war fighting grunts and you have people other than grunts, the pokes, the guys who are service support elements, and it's their job to keep the Marine fighter up and running at all costs, including their own lives. But they support something. We support trucking. If you're not a great support to it, then you're not a great value to it. So don't get discouraged, guys. Put the work in, and I'm guaranteeing you, if you are if you are capable of going to an engineer school, you are capable of making far more money independently and not being beholden to the job that somebody else allows you to have. How many independent contractor engineers are there? I'm not sure. I can't speak educated about that, but I'll tell you a lot of them are employed, and a lot of them are just fat in the company that could be trimmed easily, especially when AI starts doing their job. Okay, AI can't do my job. AI is probably never going to do my job. And if it can, you have to have a robot tied to it and a truck built for the robot to disassemble and assemble. Because the robot cannot take a washer, a screw, or a bolt and a nut, two washers, run it behind the clamp and do all this with their fingers. And they can't do it like this either, all right? They can't fly blind behind the engine block. I can because my hands have done this for so damn long. That's where my skill is. My manual dexterity, my ability to fine tune engines and get just a couple of thousandths off the gear lash or the overhead set or the injector that's set perfectly. I'm going to leave you with one story, all right? And it's a good story. So Caterpillar calls me, and because I was doing some stuff with computers, right? That's all I'm going to say about that. And I there was an ECM that was sold to a guy for a high power engine builds for a 625 platinum build on Caterpillar C15. They put a tune in this engine, a computer, and it ran the engine to death very quickly. They wanted me to retune it because they were sure it was the engine. This engine had been built at a dealership. I won't get into specifics of how I was called or any of that. But what I'm going to tell you is this. They blamed the second tune, on me. And I told them it wasn't me. And I knew because I had a reliable product that I had, that has been dyno tested. It's no bullshit. And so what I told him is, let me take a look at it. So everyone had looked at it. I went out there to take a look at it. This is a couple hours away from me. And I hook up a laptop and I start working with ET, and I'm cutting out cylinders. And I noticed that 3 and 4 cylinder, they cannot support the engine on the 1 cylinder. Now, this isn't something you want to do a bunch of, but you can use it as a diagnostic step to see weak cylinders that you might not find in like balance tests and even compression. You could, but that's a lot of work to doing on big diesel engines. So what I was doing is I was running it on each cylinder to see if it could support rotating the engine. And it won't move very fast, but it will move. 3 and 4 didn't. And I found out, and I told him, I said, it's 3 and 4. And so we went in, and he had trusted someone else. And he went in and checked the overhead, and it was an injector that was off just a very minimal amount. And it had shit canned that engine and blew out 2 holes because when it was adjusted and built and everybody thought they were great, nobody thought about the thousandths of an inch that were necessary for that engine to have peak performance. If you're that guy, you're paid. You're a paid guy. And that's not hard to get to if you're, especially if you're looking into engineering. So maybe keep your options open, buckle down on the training and see if it doesn't equate to more pay, which might make more sense. It's based in tiers, guys. It's all, and every tier is based on how much money you earn me is how much money you're worth to me. If you're working for someone else, you're never going to get paid like you can yourself. And the 3 to 5 year plan I was talking about the other day enables you to be a guy in 3 to 5 years. If you're, could graduate college at an engineering level, that you should be in 3 to 5 years at the point where you're making the highest pay and even higher than anyone else, because they make exceptions for really qualified people. So that's my 2 cents. Don't lose hope. Stick to the trades, because in the end, skills really will matter.